Hi, and welcome to the Health for Life podcast for those who want to build strong trucks and strong bodies. This is Kevin Muniz and Trisha Foley, your wellness team, bringing you practical tips and tricks to improve your health.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening in. We are excited to have a guest today, Jason.Heinold, a certified athletic trainer who is one of Volvo's injury prevention specialists.
Yes, Jason is a consultant who works for Fit for Work, which is all about reducing risk, connecting with employees, and eliminating injuries to ensure everyone is fit for work. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about Fit for Work and your role at Volvo.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So Fit for Work, it's a nationwide company, and we provide injury prevention services, ergonomics, safety. So we cover about 400 sites within the United States. And so I'm a contract consultant here at Volvo. And so part of my job is injury prevention and ergonomics. So my main focus is to prevent injuries before they happen. And then I also do ergonomics within the plant. So looking at jobs and processes and trying to come up with better ways to do that process. So, my main goal is to work with the operators before they have an injury. So educating operators on symptoms of repetitive stress injuries, as well as identifying ergonomic risk factors. And the goal is hopefully get to the operator before they have an injury. So most of my interactions with the employees, they take place on the production floor. It's a lot easier for me to go out to the operator than have them come to me. And then I can work with non-occupational or work-related injuries also, or non-work-related injuries also, as well as occupational discomforts. I do want to stress that if an operator does have an injury, that they do need to report that to the supervisor and that they're going to go and get checked out at the Occ Health Center. I'm not the main person that's going to take care of occupational injuries.
That is so important. Injuries can keep people out of work, which is hard on everyone. I can imagine that being able to interact with employees in their work environment is super helpful because you get a better idea of their workflow and also observe how they use their body.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are three leading indicators that we want to focus on that can lead to an injury. So the three indicators are early soreness, ergonomics, and awkward postures. So with early soreness, so the earlier that an operator or a person is aware of the symptoms, the quicker they get help, the quicker we can relieve and hopefully reduce the likelihood of an injury. So usually if someone's had an injury or they've had soreness for 3 months, it's not going away in a day. So that's why we want to try to get to it. And the key point is early soreness, early prevention. Get to that as quick as possible so that hopefully we can resolve it quickly. And ergonomics, ergonomics is adapting the work to the person opposed to the person to the work. We always want to try to make the processes easier, reduce the stress on the body, opposed to just fitting the person into the job. You don't necessarily want to put the strongest person in the hardest job. That's not what we want to focus on. We want to focus on adapting the work. And we also use Volvo's Ergonomic Guideline Manual, and this is to help with lifting restrictions, frequencies, repetitive processes, as well as designing workstations for the operators, just to reduce the risk of an injury. And then finally, we've got awkward postures. Awkward postures put more stress on the joint, muscles, and ligaments in the body, and they're actually going to fatigue the operator more quickly. And that way, we want to identify an operator that's working in these awkward postures, such as bending or twisting. We want to coach them on the proper lifting technique and the best work practices to help avoid an injury.
Gotcha. Okay, great information. I'm curious to know a little bit how someone can tell if the soreness they have is normal from just using their muscles or if it's actually a potential problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the first question I would ask someone is this soreness affecting how they're performing their job or their daily functions? So if it's at a level where they're having to change their body positions because of discomfort, or they're having to take a break from their process, or they're having to find alternate ways to do their process, then it's probably an injury because one is it's going to transfer loads to different parts of the body. They're going to have to do things a little bit differently, a little bit awkwardly, and that can actually lead to other injuries. But typically, pain level is a good indicator on if it's soreness or if it's an injury. So typically, like If it's 4 out of 10 or lower, we're talking about soreness. Anything that's higher than that, then we're starting to get into an injury. And we definitely want to take care of those injuries as quick as possible. And we know that if someone's starting a new process, they're going to be sore for the first week or two, and they'll start adapting to it. It's like if they go and work with Kevin, and Kevin just beats them up for a week, they're gonna be hurting, but they're going to adapt to it, and they're going to get better, and that soreness is eventually going to go away. It's when that soreness doesn't go away is when we really want to try to resolve it, because if it starts to, the longer it goes, the worse it's going to get. So that's typically how I would describe the difference between soreness and an injury.
Okay, so what types of movements do you see that tend to get people in trouble the most, and can you offer them some tips?
Yeah, absolutely. There's probably 4 main areas that we look at that can create an issue just because of postures. So one is bending at the waist. So when we bend at the waist, we're putting a lot of stress on that back. So typically we want to coach them in keep feet shoulder width apart. You want to bend at the knees. You want to keep your head up. This is going to keep you in the best position. The strongest part of your body is your core. So if you're bending at the waist to pick something up, the core is actually the farthest position away from the body. We want to get it close by bending the knees, and that way you can lift properly, keep it in the strongest part of the body. Another one's twisting. Twisting puts a lot of rotational force on the spine. On the hips, knees, and ankles, we want to make sure you keep your hips and your shoulders facing the same direction and pivot with your feet. And that way we're not rotating that spine and putting stress on that spine or hips or even the knees. Twist at the waist or the torso. Always pivot with your feet. And the next one's chicken winging. This places a lot of stress on the shoulder, especially your rotator cuff. The rotator cuff are 4 small muscles in your shoulder that help stabilize it. So when you do get in that chicken wing position where your elbow's up at the side, up at shoulder height, that just puts a lot of stress on that rotator cuff. So we want to make sure that we're keeping our elbows at the side. They call it your power zone. So the elbows at your side is the strongest position for your shoulder. That's the most stable position. So that's going to help reduce any stress on that shoulder. And then finally would be pushing versus pulling. This is a big one that we see in the plant. So if you have the opportunity, always push, because this is, first of all, allows you to see where you're going. And second, you can get your weight behind it so you can start it more easily. It helps reduce the stress on the back and the shoulders.
Okay, those are some really good tips and strategies. I'm sure, these guys are in these positions multiple times a day. So it's good to be mindful of, moving the body in a way that's going to be protective from injuries. So I feel like in the position that you have, there may be some misconceptions when it comes to what you do exactly. What would you say is the biggest misconception that you'd like to debunk today?
So probably the biggest misconception or probably question I get asked a lot is if I'm a massage therapist. So as I am not a massage therapist. So just want that out there. So not that it's a great profession, but that's just not what I do. That's not what I'm here for. It is part of what we do for treating some injuries is massage, to help reduce some of the soreness and discomfort. But that is not my position. That's not what I'm here for. So, I'm here to specialize in musculoskeletal disorders and help prevent those. Another misconception that I get is I'm here to take care of injuries, and that's not my main focus. So just like you and Kevin, with wellness, health, safety, nutrition, ergonomics, prevention is always the best option. So I'm here to prevent an injury. I'm not here to treat it. I'm not saying that I don't treat it, because I do. I've treated plenty of injuries here, but I'm here to help prevent them. So if we wait for an injury to occur, then I'm behind. So, and then sometimes those injuries can actually be life-altering. If you get a back injury here at work, it doesn't necessarily go away when you go home. It's still going to affect you. And sometimes that back injury it is life-altering, and it's going to affect a lot that you do. So I want everybody to be able to enjoy their job free of discomfort, but also in their life outside of here. So it's, this is why we want to help treat some of those non-occupational discomforts or prevent those also, because it's going to affect both ways.
That is good information to know. So where can people connect with you if they have questions?
Typically, I'm out on the floor multiple times a day. So wave me down, holler at me, yell at me, get my attention, jump up and down. I'll come over and I'll see what's going on. I'll answer questions that you have. If I can't get you answers, or if I don't have it right there, I'll get answers for you. Or you can always contact your supervisor and say, hey, can you get Jason, the Fit for Work guy for me? I have some discomfort. I just want to talk to him. And remember that it could be non-occupational also. So I'll come out and I'll work with you, or you can also email me at jason.heinold@consultant.volvo.com.
Perfect. And, Jason, thanks again for joining us today. Our listeners have been able to hear some great tips today that will hopefully help them prevent that injury that may have happened otherwise. So if you're listening, please spread the word and be on the lookout for Jason.
Yes, and we hope now that more people know who you are and what you do. So for questions on ergonomics, fitness, nutrition, and health, reach out to any of us at
tfoley@carehere.com
or kevin.munez@consultant.com.
And jason.heinold@consultant.volvo.com.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.